Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Austin here. Today, I was going to review the Vaporfly 4%. I am stoked. I got them. They're in my hands, in my possession. I look forward to racing in them. I wanted to go over, a little bit of history about the shoe, what I've learned, maybe some things that the general public doesn't know. I want to go over what I heard about them and then what I've experienced and what I expect to experience. We'll start out talking about my introduction to the shoe. When the Sub 2 marathon attempt was being attempted by Nike, they made a documentary called Sub 2. Ulead was going for the Sub 2 marathon. Boulder Running Company invited me to go to the Sub 2. Victoria did, because she works with Boulder Running Company as well for apparel. And so we went to this Sub 2 documentary with the Nike representatives there. And we watched this documentary. Amazing documentary. It goes into a lot of depth about what they did with Ulead, all the tests, the preparation, and then the actual attempt itself, which was amazing. But after the documentary, they had 3 shoes put on the table. And, I'm not going to talk about the lowest model one. I'm going to talk about the middle model and the high-end model, the Vaporfly 4%. So the middle model, I believe, was like $200, and on the inside of the shoe, you can't even see it. It's literally behind this foam on the inside. You can't open it up. You can't see it. It's not even underneath the insole. You can't see it from the bottom. So it's a composite material, almost like a spoon, conformed to the shape of the shoe. I call it composite because it's not made out of carbon fiber. And when you run, not only is it supposed to give you a really nice push-off and transition from heel to midfoot off the toe, but it's supposed to absorb some of your load and spring it back, sort of like a trampoline. So apparently the composites are a cheaper model. They wear out a little bit faster. And then there's the Vaporfly 4%. So let's get a good look at this here. It says, engineered to the exact specifications of world-class runners, making runners faster. Then it says fast, and then it says 4%. So, what the whole hype about the shoe is you could take an advanced runner, someone who is doing all the little stuff, has the right nutrition, supplementation, cardio, strength regimen, and you put these shoes on them, and it will increase their speed at least 4%. I even heard a rumor of, these Nike reps are even saying that it could even do more than that. It could even increase an amateur runner's efficiency or time up to 15%. Yes, 15%. So what does that mean for the running industry as a whole? It means that the other shoe companies have to step their game up. No longer can you come out with some polymer crap that's going to wear out. It can be light, but is it going to really make you faster? Really? Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and find out. But the things that I heard before purchasing the shoe were absolutely amazing. I'm lucky enough to be here in Boulder around some amazing athletes. I'm not going to name drop or anything, but there's, 2 groups of elite athletes, and they were all saying amazing things about the shoe, talking about how it took them from, like a 1:16 half marathon to like a 1:12. Took a runner from a 1:30 half marathon to close to 1:24. And so those are huge improvements. And I'm a little bit skeptical. I work with people on a day-to-day basis, help them improve, and I know how hard people have to work for those small changes. And so one of the things that I found out was when Nike released the shoe is that they released them primarily in LA, Boulder area, Denver area, and New York. And apparently, as of right now, they've sold more in Boulder than anywhere else in the United States, which says a lot. usually Nike will come out with a shoe, I'm sure, and they'll give a ton to New York. They'll give a ton to LA, and they'll give some to Boulder. And then New York will probably blow, Boulder and LA out of the water sometimes. I'm sure LA will sell some more than New York sometimes. But those are the two bosses when it comes to selling shoes. But then it dawned on me that they're mostly about fashion. But when the Vaporfly 4% came out, they sold more in Boulder than they did New York and LA. So that says something right there. That says that people in Boulder are purchasing the shoe because they're more performance orientated. They're looking for the edge. Colorado's the fittest state. You're looking at Boulder, which has some of the fastest athletes in the world and happens to be the happiest city in America. But for good reason, because everybody's fit and fast. So, you could be from a small town winning all your races. You come to Boulder, you are back of the pack, my friend. So anyways, I decided that I was going to research the shoe a little bit. So I did my research online. I decided, okay, sure enough, everybody, all these elite athletes that are, maybe household names sometime soon, or maybe household names for your avid runner, and they were helping them get faster instantaneously with no additional fitness, no training on them. And they convinced me. So I went to the store and I tried a pair on, and I could feel the bounce. You'll know what I mean if you try them on. That it feels a little bit different. All I had to do was a few feet or strides of some hops up and down, and I knew that they were going to be faster. So one of the things that I did is, I told Santa that I wanted a Christmas gift, and I ended up getting it. But the real test is going to come when I do a race. My first race is still a few weeks away, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs in a 5K. So that'll be the first big test, because I think the real test is when you're under pressure in a race. I know what my all-out 5K threshold is, and we'll see if we can improve upon that. And, there's a lot of other things that the running world is going to have to deal with, and the Vaporfly 4% is one of them. Nike apparently had been using them with their pro athletes for quite a while, maybe even 2 to 3 years, without the mainstream runners actually knowing about it. So, that makes me feel two different ways. That makes me think that maybe Nike was cheating a little bit. Let me turn that off.
Dinner.
Yes, it's dinner time. So, if these athletes had been using them before, and I do know a few athletes who are sponsored by Nike, and they said this isn't new, it's just new to the public, meaning that it was definitely an advantage, and maybe they were keeping it secret for a little while because they didn't want the media or the mainstream public to know about it, or because they didn't want other pros of competitive teams to get a hold of these shoes, because at the highest levels 4% is the difference between a $25,000 prize purse and a $5,000 prize purse. So if I was a sponsored athlete from Nike, I probably wouldn't want my competitors using it. But one of the rules in the world of pro racing is if a pro's using it, it needs to be available to the public. Even if the manufacturers or the brand that's representing the product has this scarcity issue, like iPhones and whatever else is the new hot thing, they're going to actually release it a little bit slower than they could so they could jack up the price. Also, maybe they're restricting the amount that is being distributed and calling it limited edition because they don't want other pros of other teams getting their hands on them. So that's what I have to say about the Vaporflies. I have them. They are really actually quite stiff. With the regular shoes, you could be able to bend this up all the way. But this is hard. I'm using probably 20 pounds of force right now. My pecs and my shoulders are definitely engaged. And I don't want to bend it more than that because I don't want to break it. But it seems like a super solid shoe. But other than that, I did hear they only last a ridiculous 100 miles total. So you don't wear them during training. You only wear them during a race. And, you know, if you race a lot, that'll probably last you a year. If you train in them, probably going to last you 6 months, maybe less. But, you know, if you use them wisely and you take care of them and you're doing, you know, a moderate amount of races, but not a lot, it might even last me 18 months. We'll see if I get 2 years out of it. I hope, you know, 100 miles before they wear out is an exaggeration. Hopefully they last, you know, 500 miles. But I guess we'll see. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. This is my Dig Deep scarf. You can find that at digdeepboco.com. And again, I appreciate you watching this. Until next time, later.